I had lived a double life for years. On the outside, I was a devoted member of our community, just like everyone else. Inside, my mind was a storm of forbidden questions. Every sermon, every rule felt like a chain tightening around my soul. I yearned for a life where my thoughts were my own, a place far from the constant gaze of the elders and the suffocating love of my family. This longing was a secret burden, heavy but also my only true hope. Then, a faint light appeared. Through careful, hidden actions, I found a way out. It was a chance, a real one, to finally leave. This wasn't just an idea anymore, it was a path I could walk. My heart pounded with a mix of fear and wild excitement. This was my last chance, I knew it. If I failed, I would be trapped forever. The thought sent a shiver down my spine, but also a surge of desperate resolve. The weight of my secret grew too heavy to bear alone. I turned to Clara, my sister, my closest confidante. We had shared everything since childhood. In hushed whispers, late at night, I spoke of my doubts, my heretical thoughts, and even small pieces of my escape plan. I trusted her completely, believing she would understand, that she would be my ally in this fight for freedom. Her eyes seemed to listen, but I missed the subtle shift in her gaze. After that night, Clara started asking more questions. They seemed innocent at first, disguised as concern for my well-being. "Are you truly happy, Maya?" she'd ask, her voice soft. But with each question, I felt myself revealing more. She knew just how to push, how to make me feel safe enough to share. I thought she was helping me sort through my thoughts, never realizing she was carefully gathering information, piece by careful piece. A few weeks later, Elder Thomas called me into his study. He spoke of unorthodox thoughts and suggested spiritual counseling sessions. His words were vague, but they felt too specific, too close to what I had told Clara. A cold knot formed in my stomach. Had I been too open? I tried to dismiss the feeling, telling myself it was just a coincidence that the elders were always watchful. But the unease lingered. The atmosphere in our home changed. I felt eyes on me everywhere. Family members would make subtle comments. "Are you well, Maya? You seem distant." Clara would often say, "You're just imagining things, sister. The elders care about you." It was like a slow, invisible pressure building. I started questioning my own sanity, wondering if my desire for freedom was truly a sickness, as they implied. My carefully built mental walls began to crack. One morning, a small, handwritten note was found near my prayer mat. It contained a phrase I had used in my private thoughts, a question about the cult's teachings. I knew I hadn't written it. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just suspicion anymore, it was evidence. I instantly thought of Clara. Who else knew my deepest, most forbidden questions? The realization hit me like a physical blow. She must have done this. The summons came swiftly. I was called before the Council of Elders, not for counseling, but for a public confession. My heart hammered against my ribs. Public shaming, re-indoctrination. My escape plan, the one fragile hope I had nurtured, was shattered. They knew. They knew everything. The room felt like a cage closing in around me, and the faces of the elders were stern, unforgiving masks. As I was led away, my eyes scanned the crowd. There, among the familiar faces, was Clara. Our eyes met for a fleeting second. I saw it then, a cold, almost imperceptible flicker of satisfaction in her gaze. It was gone as quickly as it appeared, replaced by a mask of feigned concern. But in that instant, my denial crumbled. The truth, ugly and sharp, pierced through me. It was her. It had always been her. The weight of that look crushed me. My own sister, my blood, had betrayed me. She had taken my most vulnerable confessions, the desperate cries of my soul, and weaponized them. The thought was a physical pain, a tearing in my chest. My escape, my freedom, all gone, orchestrated by the one person I had trusted implicitly. The world spun, and I felt myself falling into a deep, dark well of despair, knowing my downfall was her victory. The public shaming was a blur of faces and condemning words. I stood before the community, forced to listen to my sins laid bare. My mind felt numb, but my heart ached with humiliation. I saw Clara in the crowd, her expression a perfect mask of sorrow. Yet I caught a fleeting glint in her eyes, a flicker of triumph that chilled me to my core. It was a performance, and I was her star, unwillingly trapped in her twisted masterpiece. After the shaming, I was moved to a small, stark room. The reindoctrination sessions began immediately. Elders spoke for hours, their voices droning, their words designed to break my spirit and rebuild it in their image. I nodded, I confessed, I repented, but inside my mind was a fortress. I feigned acceptance, silently guarding the last embers of my true self, knowing this was a battle I had to win alone. Days blended into weeks. One afternoon, while reviewing some spiritual texts, a phrase jumped out at me. It was a unique way I had described my deepest doubt, a specific wording I had only ever shared with Clara. It was like a shard of ice in my stomach. This was the proof. This small, almost undetectable clue confirmed it. Clara had not just leaked my thoughts. She had used my exact words, betraying my trust in the cruelest way possible. I found a moment to corner Clara in the quiet of the evening. My voice was low, trembling with a mix of anger and pain. I spoke of the phrase, the undeniable link. She met my gaze with unnerving calm. Her eyes were blank, her denials smooth and practiced. She gaslighted me, suggesting my confusion was a side effect of the reindoctrination. She even offered a comforting hand, reinforcing her facade as the dutiful, concerned sister. My heart shattered into a million pieces. Her cold denial left me hollow. The pain of her remorseless betrayal was a physical ache. I had trusted her implicitly, and she had weaponized my vulnerability without a flicker of remorse. Despair threatened to consume me, but then a different emotion began to simmer. A burning desire for vindication, for justice. My sorrow transformed into a hard, unyielding resolve. I would not just survive, I would make her pay. My physical escape was now impossible. My plans were known, my movements watched, but my mind was still my own. I shifted my focus. If I couldn't leave, I would fight from within. My new plan was more dangerous, more subtle, internal sabotage. I would meticulously expose Clara's malice, piece by careful piece, using the cult's own rigid structure against her. This was a war of whispers, and I would be the silent general. With newfound clarity, I started observing other cult members. I watched their faces during sermons, listened to their casual conversations. I looked for cracks in their loyalty, for subtle signs of discontent, for anyone who might have witnessed Clara's subtle manipulations. My interactions became deliberate, my questions carefully veiled. I was searching for silent allies, for those who might also feel the oppressive weight of our community. My first strike was small, almost imperceptible. I approached an older member, Martha, known for her quiet observations. I mentioned, almost casually, how strange it was that certain private thoughts had become public knowledge. I used vague terms, but her eyes flickered with understanding. I planted seeds of doubt about Clara's true motives, using accidental revelations, watching for the ripples. The game had begun. Even confined, I began to reclaim my identity. In the quiet moments, I would secretly read texts that challenged their doctrines, meditate on my true beliefs, and reaffirm my sense of self. It was a harrowing journey of mental fortitude, rebuilding my inner world brick by brick. The injustice fueled me. The desecration of my dreams hardened my resolve. My mind became my sanctuary, a place where their control could not reach. I made a silent, unwavering promise to myself. I would fight for truth and justice, no matter how long it took, no matter the cost. I would expose Clara's evil, not just for myself, but for every suppressed voice in this cult. My physical freedom might be gone, but my spirit was unbroken. This was my new purpose, my new path to liberation. I would reclaim my dignity, even if confined, and one day, Clara would face the truth of her actions. My life would be a testament to the enduring power of a betrayed soul, finding its own way to justice.